All right, welcome. Today we're going to be working on some dramatic lighting effects. And so this is something that I really enjoy doing because it's not very hard. This shouldn't take very long, by the way. Um, it's not very hard, but the effect is amazing. Like it turns something like this that looks really cool but kind of flat. It can turn this into this. And it just looks a world of difference. So, yeah, let's get started here. Um, all of my models today are from Polyhaven. Stop, no pop-ups. Um, so this is a amazing website. They have HDRs, they have textures and models, and I've been using them for a long time now. They are really cool, and they're all Creative Commons open source. So that means you can use it for whatever you want. So let's get rid of all our lights here and start working on our lighting effect. So I got this table and this bust here from Polyhaven, and I left a link in the description if you want to go check that out. What we want to do here is we want to add in a area light and move it up. G RX 90 RZ, rotate it around. There we go. And we want it to be facing from the back straight towards us. And what this is going to do is when we turn the lights on, it's just going to give this nice outline. So while that looks really cool, we lose a lot of the detail right about here. So let's bring in a point light right there, G, and bring it there. But the whole point of this is to have it sort of mysterious. So we don't want it to be bright. But so what we want to do is we want to make it bright and make it small. And then move it far away. Come on. G, there we go. Far away. Just make it small. There we go. So that's just going to bring in some of these highlights here. So just a little bit there. And already that's looking really good, but we want just a little more detail right around the chin area. And then we want some rim lights on the edge there. So let's get in another area light there. G R R, just orbit it around. G Z R R. G Z. That. There we go. Also, if you have any questions at any point, you can leave a comment in the chat there. So let's bring that around so that it's just going to be glancing here. And then bring the strength down and the size down. This will give us those nice rim highlights like that. Let's make it an ellipse there. Ellipse. And SZ. Or I guess that's not going to work with... Oh, well, there we go. So SZ. Alright. And size. Keep the size low. So a lower size is going to mean that these highlights are going to be sharper. And so that's kind of what we're going for here. So let's select our first area light, bring it over and rotate on the Z there. So kind of like that. And let's copy it and bring it over and rotate it. But we want this one to be less, just a tiny little bit. So what we can do is we can angle it away like that. There we go. Let's check out render view. And this is too bright. So we are going to take our point light here, bring the brightness down. Want just a little bit. And our other area light here. Just enough so that we can get some of these defining lines there. And I'd say that looks pretty good. And that's the edge lighting method. Another one is going to be a softbox. So let's get our Eevee scene world here. So what we want to do is we want to get a plane, scale it up a bit like that, go into edit mode, hit tab, and select these two edges and go E, both of them, EZ, just like that, and then select these three faces, or these three edges here, and Control B to bevel. 3. Is it not gonna let me? This is why live streaming is hard. My computer doesn't like me when I live stream. Select those edges there, Control B, Control B. Here we go. Let's try one more time. I think what happened was I selected and extruded one edge first. So easy. There we go. Select these three. Control B. There we go. And shade smooth. So now what we have is we have like this infinite white, which can be cool, but we want it to be a little more defined there so that we can get some nice shadows. So Control B, like that. There we go, shade smooth. Now we've got this shadow, and let's bring our camera to maybe about here. Control Alt 0, snap it there. So now what we're going to do is we're going to do a soft light. So we're going to bring in a light here, an area light, and GZ. And this is kind of like a, I don't know how you would call it, but I call it just like a gallery light. Like how you would imagine it being like in the back of a museum or something. So all you really need to do is just get a really big area light at the top here, or small depending on how you want it. If you want dramatic, go for a small one. But what I like to do is scale it on just one axis here. So for example, the x-axis, like that. And then scale it down. Where did my light go here? Scale it down on the y. Like that. And bring the brightness up. Size. What I'm trying to get here is just this nice crisp look. And so that is one way to do it here. It gives it kind of a studio light look. I think we need one more point light in there somewhere. Just a little soft one. Point light. G. There we go. They gave it a little bit of a highlight here. So I like this here. It's sort of a studio looking light. I do think this needs to be just a hair brighter. Okay, let's select our camera here, move it in. There. Oh, sorry, I forgot to turn on. Well, I guess I can't do it anyway. I'm running a different version of Blender today, so I don't have all of my add-ons that I usually have. So sorry about that. So let's render the image here. So this gives us a nice studio looking light, and I find this really effective if you just want to like portray an object really well and show all the details. So yes, this is Blender 3.0. I can show you guys how to get that here while that's rendering. Blender 3.0. So you just go to blender.org, go to the download here, and go to experimental. And 3.0 alpha, I'm not sure if this one has Cycles X or not. They removed the one where it just said straight out Cycles X. I'm pretty sure it does because they are nearing the point of completion where they're going to fully release it. So I'm hoping that they release it soon. But yes, this is Cycles X. As you can see, it runs a lot faster. Actually, I'm running this on CPU right now. Oh man, look at those highlights. Those look great. So if I actually go to camera settings, nope, I'm running it on GPU. So what Cycles X does, as opposed to Cycles, is Cycles renders one chunk at a time, or sometimes up to like 20 chunks or something, but it just renders and then goes on to the next and then the next. Whereas Cycles X is just renders everything at once so that it doesn't have to wait for the chunk to finish. So say you have 80% of the chunk finished, then that means 80% of that part of the GPU is not being used at all. So in this case, 100% is used 100% of the time, and you get these really fast results. That was 1 minute 39 seconds, and this is a full HD render with a lot of like really complicated textures here. And this is actually a photo scan too, so it's a lot of geometry. So yeah, to answer your question, this is Blender 3.0. As you can see, it says, yeah, here we go, 3.0 alpha. So now we're going to do one more type of light here. I'm going to delete that and delete that. And this one is going to be the fun light. So let's add in a light spotlight. And for this one, we're actually going to use Eevee. And we're going to go down to volumetrics here. So we go to world and volume. And let's add in a, where is it? Principled volume. Here we go. Volume scatter. There we go. So now when we add our light and move it GZ, scene world R. Now we get this mist look, like that. And this is really cool if you want, like, say, I don't know, a bust on a shelf or something, and you want to make it look kind of spooky. This is a really cool way to do it. So let's angle that the right way. Scale the radius here. And where's the size angle here? There we go. GZ. Like that. Power. Bring this up. There we go. And they have not added this in Cycles yet. I don't know why. I think they might add it eventually. I hope so. But this is just a really cool way to get a nice kind of like, I don't know. Like if you want to have something in a room with a light shining through the window, you'd want to use volumetrics. To do that, you just go to volume in the world settings. And then you set your fall off and radius and stuff here. And it's just a really nice way to do that really quickly. Here's my angle. There we go. So yeah, that's just one way to do it. There we go. So let's go to render settings here. Increase that to say 128. Oh, 128. And render this real quick. There we go. So now we have these shadows. We've got a lot of nice lighting. And it just looks really clean. Well, it looks dirty in a clean, nice way. So it looks like there's some like dust floating around or something. And this is a good way to do it without messing with volumetric shaders on an object, because that can be painful sometimes. So yeah, that's just one nice, quick, and dirty way to do it. So let's shift back to cycles here. Oh, wait. Oh, it does work in cycles. I think they just updated it, because the last time I checked, volumetrics did not work in cycles very well. At least volumetric world settings. You had to use a volumetric box. But okay, that looks amazing. So that's just one of the other methods here. And I'm going to do one more. Delete that. World settings. Volume. Remove. And for this one, I am going to do a bunch of different small lights that are going to be all different colors. So if you want, say, to light up an object sort of disco-like, I don't know, or just for like a fun intro or whatever. Rotate that. Angle down. G. Control C. Control V. G. R R. G. R R. Come on. Rotate. R. There we go. So now let's make this one blue. This one is going to be green. And this one we're going to make a red. So now I've got the RGB here. That should be more blue. There we go. So let's move this one, G, S, or I guess S doesn't work, it's scale here. Like that. Like that. Bring the brightness up. The angle. Brightness. Angle just a little bit there. And then brightness. There we go. So now I've got RGB lights. And I think I'm going to put just a white light here because you can't really tell what the face is here. And then after this, we're going to go into the compositing here. So let's add a light, point light, G. There we go. Brightness really low. Scale really small. There we go. GX. Okay. GY. There we go. GY. Is it not going to do it when it's not in view? That stinks. G. There we go. So just now we can see that detail there. And I think that looks a lot of fun. You can get these nice color blending here. So now, compositing. Let's get back to the white here. Yeah, let's give it an off-white, sort of yellowish. Bring up the angle there. Okay. So compositing is a nice technique to make sort of lens flare effects. And you do this by using the compositing tab here, but you need to have a render done first. So let's bring in one more area light. G, R, X, no, Y, 90. There we go, power, Z. There we go, power lower. Just to bring out the highlights here. Because we want this to look really good. GZ. There we go. So now we have the highlights, we've got the main light. So now let's render it. Render image. And then we just go over to the compositing tab and wait for this to finish here. And click use nodes. I don't know why that's not enabled by default. And we can just set up beforehand here and press viewer. There we go. Drag our image to the image and shift right click and drag all the way there. So now they're linked. Now we just have to wait for this to finish, which shouldn't take too long. Yeah, we got that nice reflection there. We're hiding details, but also bringing out the fact that they're there by just having a subtle clue that, oh, there's a metal thing there. And it's those subtleties that make this pop. So there we go, 46 seconds later, and our picture is done. So now, let's refresh this. There we go. So what we want to do here is we want to bring in a glare node, glare, and drop that on the line there. And what that's going to do is it's going to do that by default, but we just want a fog glow. So that's going to give us a nice, it even updates in here too. So that's going to give us a nice little glow around all the spots that have a lot of light. And it just adds a little bit of realism. And I think it looks really cool. And so yeah, that is pretty much the basics of lighting here. You can do different amounts of how much that is. The compositing tab is really useful, and I use it pretty much in every render, just because like you can't not use it. It just makes everything look quite professional and like really crisp. So see, I took down the sides. It's still there, and you can still see the haze, the little halo around it, but it's not as prominent, but it still gives it that camera effect. I'm going to scale it up a little bit there though. So threshold just says how much it blends, and then size says how far it goes. So I'd say right about there. And yeah, that's our intro to lighting tutorial. So yeah, hit the like button, leave a comment, tell me just how you thought it went. I do live streams every Sunday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you have any questions, you can always send me a, well, I read all the comments, so you can ask a question in the comment section and I'll try to answer it later. Probably in my next stream. So yeah, thanks for watching. Hope you learned something, and I will see you next time.